All right. Hey, welcome to the Unblocked Creators Podcast.
Hey guys.
I'm Jesse James Boys, also the Unblocked Carver, if you've read my newsletters. And this is episode 2. I'm going to bring on all kinds of artists and ask them about their creative processes, challenges, how they've overcome creative blocks, how they became an artist. So this is Mr. Jack Hendsbee, local painter known for his mostly a lot of impressionist sort of landscapes. You've done some murals out in Chilliwack.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. And,
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Yeah.
Mate.
Drinking some
fresh
yerba
from the pot.
mate. So here's a couple of Jack's paintings here. This is another one behind me, and I'm sure that we'll show some more throughout the video. But
Yeah.
So Jack, I don't really know much about the origins of Jack Hendsbee the painter. Have you been making art your whole life?
Yeah, pretty much. I started drawing when I was younger, and I got really good at drawing. People kind of knew me for drawing. Oh, he's the good at drawing Pokemons and ODST soldiers and all these kind of nerdy things.
Okay.
And then when I was 18 or so, I think I started being like, why would I do anything else than just try and make some money off of this? Because it's fun and I enjoy it. So then I started to just sell my stuff, and then for the past 8, 9, 10 years, I guess, I've been just selling little things here and there, and that's how I make my money.
Amazing.
It's been good.
Yeah. Do you know many other painters who are in that mode where like that they're not looking to get a job, they're just looking to go all the way?
With art and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Connor Cowenhoven is the guy that I grew up with. Shout out to Connor.
Shout out to Connor. We'll have him on one day.
Well, you, of course, with the carvings and stuff, kind of a similar art endeavor. You've been doing that for a while, right?
Yeah, for me it's been about 5 years, and first I tried to make it a real business. I was going to do furniture and other stuff. And then eventually, and there's kind of a whole story arc to how I became a carver, but I realized I really enjoy getting away from all the loud machines and just sitting in my living room working on a carving. Or there's a piece that we will show the viewers shortly, and some others like this piece that you painted. This is a view that I had when I hitchhiked to Tofino, British Columbia a couple of years ago.
Jamie, bring up a close-up on that.
Yeah, come on, Jamie. So we worked together on this piece. So that was our second experiment of its type. The other one's around somewhere. And there's another one that I'll hand off to Jack and request that he paints. But yeah, I just I haven't necessarily made a lot of money with art, but I'm working towards endeavors that will make me money, that are creative, kind of adjacent to carving. I do want the carving to be part of my long-term income.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really feel realistic because I just like to take my time and carve whatever I want. So I thought, okay, well, I'll find another path, which I can talk to you about what that is. I'm doing the web design and other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really inspiring to me that someone would just be all in on their painting, because most artists struggle with things like imposter syndrome or just feeling like they can't do it.
Right.
And you've probably had enough sort of successes that have confirmed for you that path is open for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you have admirers because your work is quite impressive.
Thanks. Yeah.
So,
That's good.
but it's not easy for someone who aspires to that sort of thing to get over all the mental blocks.
Well, even still, after however many years, it's still not. It just doesn't work that well. If you're not willing to be constantly talking to people and promoting yourself, which I don't really do, then you're probably going to have a pretty tough time. And it's been lots of ebbs and flows over the past, 8 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you sell stuff and you feel like, oh wow, this is picking up and this feels great. And then just when you think it's kind of on the up, it'll be nothing for a while, right? So it's just all about managing your expectations and kind of continuing to not make any expenses.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like you gotta save money where you can, because the work that you put into paintings and stuff is just really hard to justify some of the prices to the average folk. So when you put 100 hours into a painting that's like this big, it's going to be tough to get that money back in terms of time spent.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it, and trying to figure out where to market yourself and all this stuff. Just things that I still haven't figured out.
So you have to love it enough to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a car. I don't think you do.
No. Well, I have one. It's just not insured.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and you save a lot of money that way, but it's a limit that not everyone's willing to take on. So,
right.
Yeah, I think you're right about managing expectations and then deciding how to make it worth it.
Yeah.
Because you do put a lot of time into pieces that, people want art in their house, but they have a lot of bills to pay too.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. If I was kind of doing the other way and I'm working at wherever, I would be buying art for my nice big white apartment from probably IKEA. Why not?
Yeah.
You just fill the walls, right? People don't really think about this stuff generally, which is normal. But yeah, you just hope that there's some people that really love it enough that somehow have obtained money and kind of can reintroduce the money into the art stream, which is
Right.
Yeah, thank goodness for those people, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing where sometimes when I have had money, I have liked to spend it on art.
Right.
And that's another thing where someone else would say, well, I would much rather have a car soon than buy those pieces of art.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, in some ways you just have to have your priorities completely wrong.
Completely messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think entrepreneurship in general and being an artist is very impractical.
Right.
But I also think there's tremendous value in not making your life all about practicality.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a big one.
So now you've done a lot of very small scale work. You like to do those little mini paintings.
Yeah.
And you've also done, like, I don't know what the scale of some of those murals have been, but the whole side of a little store in Shawak, for example, or that big wall in the climbing gym.
Mm-hmm.
How did those jobs come about?
Those came about, well, I used to work at a little outdoor store called Waddington's, and I would do the chalkboard. This is kind of where I started, learning that I could make money from some of this. I would do the chalkboard, and they started getting better and better, and it's super satisfying to do that stuff, and my boss was nice enough to say, okay, can you redo the mural on our building? So he paid me some money for that, and then I'm kind of like, okay, this was, that feels good to make some money from this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a whole different ball game painting the walls with acrylic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so different from oils. But yeah, slowly but surely you get better at it, hopefully.
Yeah, at that scale, you have to do a lot more planning, right?
Right.
Now, on the small scale, do you sometimes also have that level of strategic approach, or do you do a lot more like flow state sort of painting on a small scale?
It varies. Most of it's probably just from life in some way, either looking at something or from a picture.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll plan it out to a certain degree, and then you'll have certain ideas of, do I want to make this color more prevalent, or do you want to shift the position of some certain things? So there's not a whole lot. I haven't been doing a whole lot of like sit down and channel my inner water and let it flow,
Okay.
But yeah, that's definitely something that you start to move away from. As soon as you see sales in a certain subject, you go, okay, this is what I have to do. So in some ways, you kind of just get stuck to that in some ways.
you start to narrow yourself in,
Mm-hmm.
sort of become habitual about it.
Yeah, you're a little bit less willing to make more abstract decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I found with what I've been doing. But also, I find a lot of satisfaction in kind of getting the right look to where it looks real in a sense, and it also looks like painting. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's something mesmerizing to me about your style. Like it, I don't, I guess I generally would say to people that it's something of an impressionist form.
Yeah.
But it feels very Jack Hendsbee to me when I
Cool,
see your
cool.
when I see your stuff, and the way that you're working with colors. Like when I look at water and trees and skies in your work, people look at a sky and they see a lot of blue, and there's some whites in the clouds, and sunsets you might see some pinks and other things, but in almost any scene that you paint, it seems you're able to see how colors that almost don't seem like they'd quite belong,
Right.
just a little streak of that pink in the water, it actually somehow is more accurate to what you see than I think you might think, right? When you really look at that stream of water, you're seeing all these flashes of reflection of whites and refracted light from the bottom.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I like to paint from life, just little paintings and stuff, because it's just quick, right? And it's really satisfying to see something and not obsess over it for weeks, right? You just get it. You see the area, you see some colors, you jam it all up and finish it in, and then you're done with it, and then you have a little captured moment of what that looks like, not from a picture, but what that area looks like to you.
Right.
And that's always kind of a cool thing.
When you do it on the spot like that, that's called plein air, right?
Yeah, I think that's the French word for it.
Okay, yeah.
Us painters, we like to say French things to make ourselves
for
feel
sure.
better about ourselves.
It's fancy. So when you do a plein air painting, I'm sure it ranges in time span, but like, what's a fast painting for you?
Like 30 minutes.
Okay.
But then it'll be very loose, right?
Yeah. Maybe
every-
missing some edges.
Totally. And every kind of time constraint leads to different outcomes, obviously. But sometimes I'll be more happy with my quicker ones than the ones that take a super long time, because then you look back at it later and you go, oh, that's actually kind of cool that the ground is just one stroke or a couple of strokes rather than all blended in and carefully touched up,
Yeah. There's a lot to be said about the value of constraints in making art, playing with different constraints.
Yeah.
You think, being creative, it's about just blowing it wide open, right?
Yeah.
But often it's like, it's the constraint that actually forces the creativity out. Right?
Yeah.
So
I definitely like the idea of kind of limiting time to just see what comes out of that. It's generally a little more fresh looking, I find.
Well, speaking of, there's a carving I've been working on for months and months, like maybe a year, just because I sometimes shelve it for a while.
Yeah.
But I was on this recent trip down in the desert. I went to Mojave Desert and Sonoran Desert, and was in Arizona doing some hikes, and so I brought this piece with me because I realized, well, this is the landscape that it's depicting. So it's some saguaro cacti and a bighorn sheep, and I've just been stuck on it a little bit for a while. Okay, what final details? And then basically this morning with you coming over, I thought, okay, just can I finish it? Can I get it done? So I carved it for about an hour. I thought, okay, I got 1 hour. Now I'm not quite sure how I feel yet, if it's ready for paint, but
That's really cool.
at some point I got to hand that off to you for you to put some color on it.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thank you. So I thought I'd keep the foreground a little more rough there, and it's more kind of rocky, red, rocky.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of plants, but there is some greens in the desert, and especially like the prickly pear and saguaros. And there's some greenish brown plants out there, and so I figured I could give you some creative liberty to figure out what the color scheme is there.
Yeah.
Leave some raw wood as well, like the other ones.
And where is this from?
So, I started that carving while I was just here in Canada. But I was down in Arizona when I actually got to see that landscape. So, like, southern Phoenix was where I was climbing up South Mountain and looking at that. So, yeah, I mean, it's so easy to just get hung up on, you can keep on pushing it, is it perfect yet? But I think sometimes the key to releasing your work is giving it that constraint, for one thing. And that's another topic, is releasing your work, right? A lot of artists, writers or painters just feel like, oh, it's not there yet. I'm not there yet.
You set a certain level for yourself, and this is what I should be at all the time. But that is, it's tricky to set standards for yourself like that, because then you have a day where you want to explore some different ideas, and it's not always going to be the same level of quality, you know. So yeah, it's just, you can't get in your head about that stuff. It's tough. So yeah,
just let it get out.
Let it get out somehow. And then slowly over time you'll figure out a system that probably works for you. You know? Doesn't really make sense, but I think maybe some people know what I'm saying.
What do you think about carving these, or painting these carvings? How different is that experience on your end?
It's way different. Yeah, it's totally different. Cause you're instead of making the texture, you are working with the texture.
Yeah, it's predetermined for you.
Yeah. So
you're getting upset with this Jesse guy who came before and.
Oh right, yeah, predetermined, all my favorite things. No, yeah, it's just a different thing, right? I would equate it to similar to like a mural where you're working on a textured wall or something. So all the lines have to be they have to follow how you've carved it, which is part of what makes it so cool. But yeah, it's still pretty similar. You just, I think the biggest thing would be having to work with the shading. So you'll put a color in a carved area that's in the shadow.
Yeah.
And you have to really gauge like what that color is going to be. If it's in the shadow, you probably want to up the hue or the value or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's brighter and stands out on as a color. It's not just a dark spot, right? So it's a lot of that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So I haven't painted much at all, and I'd like to do some painting. Probably acrylic would be the starting point. I think my mom is using acrylics. This is one of her pieces up here, this tree.
Awesome.
And I'm really stoked.
Yeah, she's
seeing her work.
Butt.
She's doing great. I'll have her on the podcast as well.
Nice.
And she's also, come a long way from, comparing to other artists and feeling shy about putting her work out to like, okay, I guess you start sharing it and then people start telling you what they think. And
right, totally.
So
yeah, you're sometimes surprised by what people like,
Yeah, well, you've been pretty experimental with some of your stuff. Like, it was a while back now that you did those Renaissance comedians.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's sometimes tricky if you're trying to think about what has a market.
Yeah.
To let yourself be that kind of creative with it, but although you did get to give one of those to one of those comedians,
right? Yeah.
That's
a couple
cool.
of them got some paintings, which was super satisfying to see.
Yeah, that's really neat. That was a fun one.
Yeah. But again, those are like, I'm dropping 100, 200, 300 hours sometimes on a painting, and then you'll put it on Instagram and hope that they see it or that they comment on it or something, and when they don't, you kind of like, oh boy, there's that one marked off the list. But yeah, so then it kind of became hard for me to justify spending so much time on something like that.
For sure.
Plus also I'd rather not kind of be doing it for someone in a weird way, in a selfish way, kind of like I'd rather just do it for myself instead of kind of like, okay, my whether I like this piece or not depends on whether the person I painted it replies or sees it and likes it.
Right.
Because
You should be happy with it anyways.
Right. There's always going to be something that that bogs you down if they don't say anything. Or okay, I guess this painting's not good. Right. Something wrong with it.
Right.
But yeah.
Do you have many of your paintings on display at home?
Yeah, I have a bunch on my wall just for storage sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a bunch of my stuff too. This table that I carved, I love it, and I hope someone will pay the hefty price tag I've put on it one day, because I spent, in terms of time, I spent a fortune making it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really happy to have it in my living room for now.
True. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
For the
the
time
other thing.
being, it's nice to have your own little treat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes you make stuff and then it's just gone.
Speaking of your own treat,
Have a treat. Yeah.
these Bon Appetit chocolate-covered donuts are the best donuts you can
Okay,
get.
time for our actual sponsor plug while Jack eats a donut. So this is the shirt I'm wearing is from Oakmoss Woodcraft, which is the company that makes the very best wooden wallets in the market. You might think that would be Ridge or some other, but
Not Ridge, man.
I'll show you some close-up photos of these wooden wallets. There's somewhere around 60 people walking around with these in their pockets, loving them. They're built to last years, and that's my sales pitch from our sponsor, Oakmoss Woodcraft, which is me. So,
Yeah.
very
They're
good.
awesome. They're
Hey,
awesome.
thanks.
I can certify that.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about the wallets. What else do I want to ask you about? I want to ask you, can you think of any times of duress or just total blockage, or times of feeling like you just don't want to create anything and you're not sure if you want to do it?
Yeah.
Any particular times? And
Yeah, in the morning, I guess. Every morning, you gotta go, oh, shit.
okay,
I
yeah,
gotta do this again. And then, then you start doing it for a couple hours and you go, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
always a bit of a battle.
so just getting started.
Yeah, getting
Removes
started,
one of that.
that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Then you're in and then I can't. It's tough to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you utilize any mental tricks to get yourself to do it?
Well, I guess I just tell myself, you're gonna be sad if you don't get something done.
Okay.
Every time I don't do anything, maybe I can just chill today and I'll just sit and play Minecraft. But 3 hours later and you go, man, I don't feel very good. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's useful because people talk about that. You have to create a vision and an anti-vision to motivate yourself.
Right, yeah.
And-
How could this look if I didn't do anything?
Yeah.
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 And it won't look like anything.
It won't look like anything. It looks like a regret
Yeah,
most of the time. Yeah. So just start. Just do 5 minutes, and then you suddenly find yourself there for hours.
Although I do want to get better at Warzone.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a game?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's COD. You know COD?
Well, I don't play much for games, but I do know cod. It's
Yeah.
a type of fish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful fish.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Deep fried cod.
Gorgeous deep fried cod. Beautiful stuff.
Fish and chips. Oh, let's see here. You have a gallery show tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Open Space, I think it's called.
Open Space Gallery,
Gallery,
downtown
yep.
Abbotsford.
Yep.
This podcast will be later,
Yeah.
so this is in the past now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be there. I'm going to stop by, so I'll see you
Awesome.
there.
Awesome.
Bunch of your work's already up, or you got to go set up?
I gotta go set up after this, so that will be good.
Okay. Well, I'll let you out of here pretty soon then.
Okay. No rush.
There's quite a few other artists there. Ty Martins is still on display there?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got some sculptures up there that look pretty sweet.
Yeah. I'm going to have him on next week.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, he's
So
awesome.
dive into his process a bit. Have you found, because again, when it comes to your use of color, I've had this conversation with others about your work. Just how the heck
Sam Hill.
that word? How did you do that? And like, there's particular pieces that come to mind. There's one where there's your dog in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just every color, how the colors of parts of the scene reflect in the mirror. Every color just seems so perfect.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
So is that just you practicing mixing paints and figuring it out? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, I think it's just slowly figuring out what you like in the painting. Generally from photos, because I'm not gonna BS everyone and say like, yeah, I just kind of made it up, or stuff like that. But yeah, you'll see the photo and go, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if this was a little warmer, or this part was like a little more blue in here. And you just fail through, okay, this doesn't work, try something else. And you just fail and fail until you get something that you stand back and kind of like, oh, this looks pretty cool.
Okay.
And then that one especially, it kind of came along well. You just get lucky sometimes, and something will come out better than you expect, And that's again where the expectations come in. Not everyone's going to come out cool. Like I've done the last few that I've done, kind of like, man, am I getting worse at painting? Or it's just, I don't know. You just got to keep.
You've been on a major decline lately.
Yeah,
major
that's how it feels sometimes.
No.
It's tough.
Okay, so I'm going to take that same question to two extremes now. So the one is on a technical level. Mm-hmm. When you're like, I remember art class in high school. You want to darken a blue, you'd add some of the opposite. You'd add some orange.
Right.
But like, if I didn't know that, I would just be like, add some black.
Right.
Well, there maybe is a time for that too. What is the way that you darken or brighten or change the hue? And did you study much of that, or did you just figure it out?
No, I went to an art class when I was 12. And,
one class.
Yeah, and the teacher would hold my hand as I painted. You know what I mean? What am I learning from this? So I stopped doing that, and then I just was like, I'll just learn this on my own. Because you're right, you can either do with opposite colors, or you can add black, and both work, right? It just depends what you want. Yeah. Because there's a lot of. Sorry, I'm shivering because I biked here, but
no worries. Freezing. Here to put this extra layer
thank
on.
You. Go full Dormammu.
There you go. Very nice.
Okay, what was I saying? Something about, oh yeah, you can use black. Like there's Rob Poynton and Pete the Street on Instagram. I think they use black in a lot of their stuff. Maybe just because it's super quick and you're not having to mess with different colors that much. Mm-hmm. But it sure looks good, and it sure looks grounded. Yeah. Sometimes if you have too many different colors in your dark areas, then it just looks a little disjointed.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's really just up to you whether you want a little more kind of a traditional look with the just black, yellow, red, and white, the old palette of the ancient ones. Mm-hmm. Or if you want to add a bunch of different colors in there and do a lot of mixing, right? Which has its own look. Just what you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tend to lean towards colors. Okay. Using colors and mixing the colors.
And you're mostly using oil paints?
Yeah, mostly oil paints.
Very messy.
Yeah, pretty messy. But in some ways, I find oils easier to clean off of my shirts and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because acrylic, once it dries into a jacket, it's crisp. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a glue. I think acrylic is a form of glue.
Oh, interesting.
Or there's some
kind
sort
of plasticky.
Yeah. So that's one thing.
Oh yeah, because like super glue is cyanoacrylate. So there's an acryl. Acryl is in there.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I'm a linguist.
Yeah, there you go.
Linguist.
Nice. Yeah, glue.
So
glue and paint.
that same question on the other end, because I asked you about the technical aspect of color. When I look at your paintings, I also think, am I on LSD? Did I take a little dose of LSD?
Yeah, that's what people say, yeah.
It's like that. It's like a little dose of LSD. It's just beautiful, tuning into another dimension of the geometry and texture and color. Right. Have you found any altered state experiences influence your art?
Well, I think when I was starting to get into it, I was messing around with mushrooms. And that definitely started to inspire me. I'm going like, there's not a whole lot of people. It's definitely, there's a realm, but there's not a whole lot of people that incorporate the visuals of psychedelics into their paintings.
No.
So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could replicate this look or this feeling? Yeah, yeah, I guess that's helped.
Cool.
Yeah. I haven't been on necessarily a couple paintings. I've been on a little bit of mushrooms, but
more inspired by
Yeah, I find it's there's a lot going on while you're on mushrooms to be able to sit down and just do it. But yeah, it makes me want to plan something out. I gotta try and capture this somehow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I always suspected maybe, but
Yeah.
just because,
Nefarious.
it is difficult to portray those types of experiences, and you know, a lot of there's a whole sort of genre of like visionary art with people like Alex Gray who depict it very. They depict the high dose realms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, to me, it's always been so beautiful how those subtle visuals appear.
Well, that's like one of the best things about drugs, kids, is that the visuals are like, wow, it's crazy and inspiring seeing just like a leaf or looking closely at a piece of moss or anything like that. Wow, everything has so much nuance and everything is so much color.
I remember in high school science class, we were supposed to do some talks about drugs. And so, you know, some of us chose different hard drugs. And of course, of course, drugs are bad, right?
Yeah.
So there was one guy who got up and did a talk about LSD. And I hadn't even heard of it yet. This is like grade 9 science. Never even tried smoking weed. And he did a little rant about how you see all these crazy things and crazy hallucinations. And then later, like, I tried pot. And it was like, oh, this is an interesting experience. Realm of consciousness. And then I read stuff online about things like mushrooms and acid. Found Terrence McKenna on YouTube. Who, by the way, I'll bring his brother Dennis on this podcast. I'm pretty sure, if you'll oblige, Dennis.
Dennis, come on.
But you know, then I experimented and found these aren't just crazy hallucinations. There's like another way of perceiving things that's very interesting here and insightful. It's not like if you just saw a bunch of pretty colors, it's not that insightful on its own.
Right.
But the way you see more deeply into some things is so profound. And someone who has never experienced that, it would be very difficult for words to make it sound like anything other than some crazy...
Well, one things that I thought on some of that...
You need another layer.
Yeah, I know. What's going on here? Friggin' motor inside. Oh, yeah. Like, you could look at anything on mushrooms and go, I could devote my whole life to, like cups. You look at like a mug and you go, oh, wow. People just sink their whole lives into making mugs, or just like a method of containing a liquid. And that could be something that you fuel yourself on forever. Like, you realize that everything has a certain level of, like, intrigue, you know? You know, like, I don't know. You could dive into anything.
Yeah.
But then it wears off and you go, what do I do? What do I do? I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
No, usually it sticks around for a bit, but
you can choose to apply it.
Right, yeah, you can bring that up and
infinite
go,
depth to anything.
Yeah.
And you can infinitely expand anything.
Yeah.
And
similar to a meditation where you can go, okay, well, this is boring, but if you slowly go in and go through it, all the spider webs, you fight the demons, you know. Jamie, bring that up.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, fight the demons. I have a couple of questions anonymously submitted from the audience. One of them is kind of related to the audience, you know, my huge audience.
Yeah.
one of them is sort of related to that previous one. Have you had experiences of making art? So not consciousness alteration, but have you had actual experiences that seemed kind of mystical or serendipitous? How things fall into place in the art making process?
Yeah, all the time. This little thing, nothing crazy, but all the time you'll just be doing something, and I don't really have any examples, but there's just moments where maybe it's the universe kind of like, good job, you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And it's always little things. That's why I like riding my bike. It's because you are super present in what you're doing. You know? I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you're there and you're going slowly through your journey or whatever. But so it's nice to be connected to all the little stuff, and I think that's why I like biking so much.
Not being in a hurry all the time.
Totally, yeah. And then like it rained today, and I get a little wet, but it felt good to be rained on. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So
Yeah, I think there's a lot can just be tied back to learning how to be present. You get over so many, things that fatigue you or block you. Just take another deep breath and
take another hit of acid.
That's right. Take another hit of it. That's the moral of this whole podcast. No, disclaimer. Acid's really great.
Yeah. And also can make you go crazy.
It definitely could. Could. Or it could facilitate the process.
Once in a while, you might go really crazy.
Yeah, be careful. I do not recommend drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jack, I think we've had some pretty fun and insightful things come up. For our listeners who maybe they don't yet know what forms of art they want to do, or maybe they feel blocked with their particular medium, what do you think are the main things you would tell them about rediscovering kind of a state of flow or their own unique expression and feeling encouraged to make art?
Like, what would I tell them?
Yeah, let's say someone just says, like, Jack, I've never really felt like I'm an artist. But I picked up paint a couple times. I really enjoyed it. I just feel like I can't do it. Or I don't think I'm a painter, Jack, but I want to be a storyteller, but I just don't know how someone like you just does it. I feel like I can't do it.
Right. I don't know. I think same as what everyone would say. Is just start small. Like just. And again, if you can, if it's painting that you want to do, paint outside. Two birds with one stone. You get some vitamin D, and you can learn some things about how you want to paint. And it's always fun just choosing, again, like look at a fern. Just see if I can draw or paint this fern. And then if that was fun, you just go to something else. And I think that drive will create itself. Once you start doing it. But that's the biggest thing is you got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start the engine.
And I don't blame anyone that doesn't do it because, if I was making money right now and I'm kind of going, wow, I'll be able to afford a home soon, then I probably wouldn't. When you're on that train, you're going, well, my life is ramping up. You're going to continue on that train. And that's kind of part of the reasons why I'm happy to be floundering in my lack of success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say I'm not successful, but there's definitely some growth that could happen.
Yeah, well, where do you want it to go from here?
I think just have a steady following of people that want my stuff. Yeah, because I'm not good at setting up. It'd be nice to have a gallery and all that would definitely help. But I would like to do it through social media
Yep.
and have a kind of a base through that.
Yeah.
People that follow that stuff, and because it is nice to, when you're painting something and go, this is not just me having fun doing the painting, it's paying for my rent, or
Yeah.
yeah, and then someone can enjoy it and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Makes it nourishing.
totally.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man, and hope the gallery tonight goes great.
Thanks.
And I want more of your paintings, so as I sell more of my carvings,
Awesome.
I'll put money into my Hendsbee paintings budget.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
People can go to your Instagram, Jack Hendsbee,
Mm-hmm.
and not yet a website.
Not yet a website, no.
Okay.
That's in the works. I got to figure that out.
Yeah, social media is a funny thing, right? Because there's all this attention harvesting going on,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of getting a good hook to hook the viewer, and all these trends to follow, and it's just like sometimes it's totally overwhelming, and artists don't want to be bogged down with digital stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But I am encouraged that, you know, although AI is doing a bunch of really cool stuff, and even some of the visual art that
Yeah,
it produces is pretty cool, and people can get creative with how they prompt AI to generate stuff. But real paint on a canvas, you know, maybe Elon's robots are going to do it later on, but
Right.
But I think there's a different spirit behind that, and there's just the presence of that piece of art in your space is way different than
Totally,
something you
yeah.
printed out from a digital engine.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think I don't think art is going anywhere, and I'm encouraged to think maybe there will even be more return to people wanting to support local or just real deal artists. who are
Right, totally.
doing
Well,
this.
yeah, if you want a big, massive print of Dwayne The Rock smashing watermelons over his head or something like that,
Yeah, you can
then
get that.
AI is perfect.
Right.
You know, just a quick put it up in your dorm room or something.
Yep.
But then if you want to kind of honor the human,
Yeah.
then yeah, then humans painting have all the more value, I think. So I think it'll work together.
I think so. Yeah. Carving too. So
Yeah, totally.
yeah, go make art, and see you on the next episode. I hope.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Do the things you're supposed to do to boost my growth and all that on social media.
Yep. Yeah. Subscribe.
And
follow.
Jack too.
Yeah. Smash that
All
like
right.
button.
That was fun,
Thanks,
man.
dude.
Thanks.
Yeah.